Yeah. Calling case C 372-769, State of Nevada versus Bobby Cornealius Smith. And page 2, calling for case C 372-769-2, State of Nevada versus LaShawn Smith.
Robert Draskovich on behalf of Bobby Smith, who is present.
Good morning.
Good morning. Your Honor, my name is Alzora Jackson. My background is 2255. I represent Ms. LaShawn Smith.
Good morning. Good morning.
Heather Sharp on behalf of the state, Rob Stevens.
Your Honor, I have the respective pleas to both co-defendants. We'll file them electronically following this hearing, but if I could approach you. Your Honor.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's see. What are the negotiations first for Mr. Smith?
Today, Mr. Smith is going to be entering a plea guilty plea pursuant to the Alford versus North Carolina decision. 2 counts. One will be open or gross lewdness, a gross misdemeanor. Count 2 will be conspiracy to commit a crime, a gross misdemeanor. If he is not deemed to be a high risk to reoffend pursuant to the danger evaluation, the state will not oppose as being granted probation with the right to argue the terms and conditions of said probation. Should he receive and successfully complete probation with an honorable discharge, he'll be allowed to withdraw his plea to the open and gross lewdness charge. And that charge will be dismissed upon successful completion. However, the other charge will remain. Additionally, as to the factual basis for the Alford plea, we'd ask the court to incorporate the grand jury transcript that was filed with the court and consider that a factual basis and stipulate that that's provided sufficient factual statement for the Alford pleas.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Thank you. And what are the negotiations for Miss Smith?
Your Honor, with regards to Ms. LaShawn Smith, she will be entering a guilty plea this morning pursuant to the case of Alford versus the state of North Carolina. She will be pleading guilty to
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but unlike Mr. Smith's, I don't have the Alford language in there.
we
Is
can
that just an
interlineate it.
Oversight.
It is an oversight, Your Honor. We'd have to interlineate that. It should be offered.
So bear with me. I'll put it in there right now.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, sorry about that.
That's okay, Your Honor.
So what's the negotiation again?
She's going to plead guilty pursuant to Alford to a gross misdemeanor, conspiracy to commit a crime. After that, she's going to have a psychosexual evaluation, which if comes back low, her case will in fact be dismissed. If in the unlikely event the evaluation is not favorable, the plea will stand and she would be sentenced to credit to time served in this matter.
That's correct, Your Honor. And similar to Mr. Smith's case, we agreed to using the grand jury transcripts as the basis.
That is correct.
Okay, and so thank you all. So Mr. Smith, that's your understanding of your negotiation?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Smith, that's your understanding of your negotiation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I've got a series of questions for both of you. Vast majority of these questions will be the same. So we'll ask the question, Mr. Smith, if you could answer first, and then after he does, Ms. Smith, if you could answer after that. There'll be a couple, they'll be different, but I'll let you know. So do you waive formal reading of the charges?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
What's your full name?
Bobby Cornealius Smith.
LaShawn Smith.
Thank you. So you both know if those are not your respective true names, you must declare your respective true names to me. All proceedings in these cases will be under the names set forth. And Are there amended
It would be
indictment?
a second amendment, Your Honor, so I
Second
can
amendment.
approach with.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Your Honor, I can file these after court.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very much. Okay. Hey. One and, oh, this one is,
That's only for Bobby.
okay,
I have one.
Oh. okay, perfect. Trade you. Okay. So let me start that question over a little bit. So thank you both. So you know, if those are not your respective true names, you must declare your respective true names to me, or all proceedings in these cases will be under the names set forth in the second amended indictments, which are Bobby Cornelius Smith and LaShawn Nicole Smith. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
How old are you?
47, sir.
45.
How far did you go in school?
Associate's degree, sir.
Bachelor's degree, sir.
Do you have any sort of learning disability?
No, sir.
Do you read, write, and understand the English language?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Have you been treated recently for any mental illness or addiction of any kind?
Yes.
Has anyone ever suggested that you should be treated for a mental health or emotional condition? Are you currently under the influence of any drugs, alcohol, or medications?
No, sir.
Do you feel comfortable going forward with the guilty plea agreement pursuant to the Alford case this morning?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, do you understand what's happening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Lost by place. So thank you both. Turning back to the attorneys, have you observed any cognitive difficulties with either of your respective clients?
No.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you both. Going back to you two. Mr. Smith, have you received a copy of the second amended indictment wherein you've been charged with count 1, open or gross lewdness, gross misdemeanor, count 2, conspiracy to commit a crime, gross misdemeanor?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Smith, have you received a copy of the second amended indictment wherein you've been charged with conspiracy to commit a crime, gross misdemeanor? Do you understand the charges contained in the second amended indictment?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Have you discussed this case with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Are you satisfied with the representation and advice given to you by your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Has your attorney answered any and all questions that you may have about the case or about the negotiations?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
As to the charges set forth for you, Mr. Smith, in the second amended indictment, count 1, open and gross lewdness, gross misdemeanor, count 2, conspiracy to commit a crime, gross misdemeanor, how do you plead?
Guilty under the Alford.
Thank you. And as to you, Ms. Smith, as to the charge set forth in the second amended indictment, conspiracy to commit a crime, gross misdemeanor, how do you plead?
Guilty under the Alford.
Thank you. Are you making this plea both freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Has your attorney or anyone else put any pressure on you or forced or threatened you or anyone close to you in order to get you to enter this plea?
Sir.
Has your attorney or anyone else made you any promises other than what's in the guilty plea agreement in order to get you to enter this plea?
Sir.
I have before me written guilty plea agreement pursuant to Alford. Did you sign the guilty plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Before you signed it, did you read it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Before you signed it, did you discuss it with your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand everything contained in the guilty plea agreement?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the constitutional rights you are giving up by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand the appellate rights you're giving up by entering a plea of guilty?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand if you're not a United States citizen that under a plea of guilty may have immigration consequences, including deportation?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
This will be a question, separate one. So, Mr. Smith, do you understand that the ranges of punishment are as follows? As a consequence of your pleas of guilty, you may be in prison, Clark County Detention Center, on each count for a period of not more than 364 days and may be fined up to $2,000 for each count. Law does require to pay administrative assessment fee and other fees. Also, if appropriate, you'll be ordered to make restitution of victims, reimburse the state of VAT for extradition expenses, if any. You are not eligible for probation pursuant to statute unless a psychologist licensed to practice in the state who's trained to conduct psychosexual evaluations, or a psychiatrist licensed to practice medicine in the state who's certified and trained to conduct psychosexual evaluations, certifies a written report that you do not represent a high risk to reoffend. Except as otherwise provided by statute. The question of whether you receive probation is still in this discretion of your sentencing judge. Your attorney is responsible for obtaining that evaluation provided to court and district attorney prior to sentencing. Additionally, pursuant to statute, court must include, you must register as a sex offender within 40 hours of release from custody onto probation or parole. Sentencing judge has discretion to run them consecutive or concurrently. And you must, let's see. You understand all of that?
Yes, sir.
Going to you, Ms. Smith, do you understand that the range of punishment is as follows as a consequence of your plea of guilty pursuant to Alford? You may be in prison, Clark County Detention Center for a period of not more than 364 days, may be fined up to $2,000. Law does require to pay an administrative assessment fee and other fees. Also, if appropriate, you'll be ordered to make restitution of victims, reimburse the state and VAT for extradition expenses. If any charges not filed or dismissed may be considered by the judge at the time of sentencing. You haven't been promised any particular sentence. Even if the parties recommend something, court still has discretion to do otherwise. But she also has a psychosexual evaluation, right?
Yes, Your
We'll
Honor.
need to get that. Okay, so do you understand all of that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now going back to two. Do you understand that sentencing is up to your sentencing judge, including whether any counts were in consecutive or concurrent?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand you're not guaranteed to have me as your sentencing judge? It could be any constitutionally seated district court judge or senior judge assigned by the Supreme Court.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you understand no one is in a position to promise you probation leniency or special treatment?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So separate now, so Mr. Smith. So actually back to the state now, sorry. Since these are Alford pleas, what facts would the state seek to prove if the matters went to trial?
And Your Honor,
Pursuant to
that's
that.
where we've stipulated, thank you, to the grand jury transcript.
So the grand jury transcript, so Mr. Smith, you understand that the court will rely on the facts set forth in the grand jury transcript for determining the factual basis for your plea?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Smith, you understand that that the court will rely on the facts in the grand jury transcript for determining the factual basis for your plea? So back, same questions for both. You have made a determination that is in your best interest to accept the plea negotiations and enter this type of guilty plea. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
One of the reasons you decided to do this is to avoid the possible harsher penalties if you were convicted of the original charges at trial.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Do you have any questions that you would like to ask either me or your attorney before I accept your plea?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is the state satisfied with the canvases?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. So the court finds that defendant Mr. Smith's and defendant Ms. Smith's respective pleas of guilty pursuant to Alford or freely and voluntarily made. Defendants understand the nature of the offenses and consequences of their respective pleas, and therefore the court accepts their pleas of guilty pursuant to Alford. So on grosses, we're not doing PSI, right? No PSI?
No PSI. Yes. That's fine then. Yeah, no, Your Honor.
Okay. So worksheet, but then and I apologize because I read this, but Are defendants obtaining evaluations or is it state or?
The defense is gonna get those
Okay.
done.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
And so with that, we'll need some time, but any suggestions on sentencing date?
I'll reach out. The parties have discussed using Mr. Paco, who I know you're well aware of that, the name. Maybe 30 days. If there's any issues, can we reach
We
out to
can-
chambers?
yeah.
and get that done?
Is that all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yeah, so about 30 days and yeah, if it's not done, just contact them.
Thank you.
30 days. So 30 days would be May 20th at 8:30.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
And Mr. Smith and Ms. Smith.
Your Honor, the trial's vacated, obviously.
Yes, thank you, trial vacated,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you. And Your Honor, for the record, Alexander, I'm sorry, I don't recall his last name, reached out to us from Jury Services with an email. We did respond and advised them to call the panel off for this matter.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, Your Honor. It's always a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you.
Thank you.